It was as if he was basically punishing me for standing up to defend gays as gay not being a choice. Things have changed a lot in 15 years, I'll tell you that. He was an ex-Marine, this professor. I mean, he was a PhD and everything, but he was a tough guy. Ultra hetero, if I may, and I may. Let's talk some more about, there is something called the he hormone. Yeah, you can't say hormone without whore. I'm going to share this because I don't feel much like reading it. Excuse me, there's a storm going on here, so you may hear some interference. I would like you to read the he hormone, but we're going to talk a little bit about something that the he hormone talks about. Horton, here's a who. Hurt, and here's a he hormone. Stone Age sex. When it comes to sex, will humans ever be liberated from the basic biological needs that drove our evolutionary past? I'll give you the answer right now. Anything could be possible in a million years, but anything that leads to negative population growth leads to extinction. So you tell me, is that in the best interest of humans? And who's nature going to reward? The breeders or the non-breeders? Evolution's going to reward the breeders. That's in her nature. So that's what's going to happen. This is a wonderful article, but it's too long for me to share with you. I've read most of it. It deals with evolutionary psychology, which is my favorite branch of psychology, because I think just about all the answers, can be found when it comes to why, by looking back at our behavior. So I'm going to share that one too. This is on the Facebook page, by the way. I'm sharing these links on the announcement for the show you're listening to. I announce the show every time I do a show, and the Facebook page is facebook.com/truthontapshow. Don't forget the show. TOTS is an easy way to remember it. I know there are women. Now, here's what we're going to get into here next, and that is it's about the woman that wrote an article in the New York Post, and then the woman who countered her article. Okay? This is a bit of a battle going on. And I've got some other pages up here that have people commenting about why do women wear provocative outfits and then get offended when they get hit on. And I can tell you one of the big secrets there, guys, which I touched on earlier, it's the quality of the men that are hitting on the woman. If he's a high quality male by her own measure, well then that's okay. But no losers allowed. So what you should do, women, is put a t-shirt on or something, carry a sign around that says, if you don't meet these specific qualifications, don't flirt with me. Yeah, just do that. Coming out like an algebra problem around men that are drinking is not going to get you a correct answer. We're simpler creatures than that. All right, so we've got an article up here called from Bushwick Daily called "Catcalling is Not Flattering. Why Stopped Running in Bushwick." Okay, now this article was written by someone who was talking about the New York Post writer Dori Lewak, who likes to parade herself in skimpy dresses, she says. Now, I'm going to that article right now, and that is NewYorkPost.com, and it's titled, "Hey Ladies, Catcalls Are Flattering, Deal With It." Now, here's a woman who likes the catcall. She goes around when the construction dudes give her catcall. She gives a little curtsy and everything. She likes that attention, okay? But the other woman here, this is a whole different story. She's trying to make it an equivocal story, and it's not. She's talking about jogging, okay? Most dudes, in my experience, are not hooting and hollering at runners unless they wear extremely tight outfits. That has not been my experience. But apparently it was getting kind of bad. And where this lady was running, she was talking about Yeah, listen to this. About a year ago, I was doing my usual 3 to 4 miles of daytime run at the Ridgewood border. I was running up the hill on Grandview Avenue, passing Lennon Hill Cemetery. This is a popular running route, and I usually encounter there several runners from the area who like to make use of the hilly cemetery lap. I was listening to music on headphones, and so I didn't hear a teenager on a bicycle approaching me from behind. He spanked me and biked quickly away. Now, in most states, assault is defined as any unwanted touching. She could have had him arrested. I'm assuming that it's also like that in I'm not sure where she is. I'm not sure where Bushwick is. Maybe it's New York, maybe it's not. She says, how did I feel? I felt absolutely horrible, jolted. I actually screamed out loud and wanted to cry. I was totally scared. I felt betrayed by my surroundings, by my own neighborhood. I felt no longer in control of my body and of what was happening around me, and in shock ran home much quicker than I planned. How come a teenager thought it was okay to inappropriately touch a strange woman? Because he grew up in an environment where it's okay to catcall women, where respect to women is not much of a thing. So she's blaming the country. She's blaming the socio norm here rather than the individual. She is among a group of women that want to put a stop to catcalls. Catcalls, where do you draw the line? When is flirtation a catcall? Okay, what he did was assault by most legal definitions. In that case, you can have a person arrested. That's not funny. That's not a game. That's touching. Okay? But what a person says in public to you, that if you're dressing provocatively, you're going to get the attention. I'm sorry. You have some options, women. So you want to dress provocatively, but you don't want the attention. Go to where no people are. There you go. Yeah, just go to where no people are. Look, that's crazy, man. It's like dressing for Halloween, walking up to all the doors and telling them, how dare they give you candy? Come on now. This is not going to change. And I'm looking at this organization that was started, and she's fighting this. She says, what can you do today? IHollaback.org writes, you can respond to catcalling if the situation seems safe. They've got a whole thing going now where they're trying to get this. Folks, if you had talked to me in the year 1775 and said, Kevin, we've got slaves in America. It's perfectly normal. But in a couple of 100 years, it's going to be illegal. As a matter of fact, in a couple of 100 years, someone of black descent will sit in the White House. I would have said, I can imagine that. Absolutely. No, that's not a problem. But you tell me, Kevin, in a couple of 100 years, we're going to have it where men do not flirt with women? I'd say you're full of shit. You're absolutely full of shit. That's just not going to happen. You're not going to roll back the power of the sexual machine that is built in to the male brain. And let's not forget about females too, because they also have testosterone just at lower levels, and it spikes. And when it's time for breeding, it's funny because during ovulation, women tend to seek out men with higher levels of testosterone. And the other 24 days of the month, they tend to seek out men with higher levels of oxytocin, or more of the, what you would call the fidelity chemical, more of the calm one, more of the emotional connection. So they also connected this to men's faces. So if you had a bigger jaw, a wider jawline, a stronger looking jaw, a little bit of facial scruff, very manly looking, these were the men women were favoring during ovulation, while wanting the baby face guy for the other 24 days of the month. Look how fucked up we are by design, folks. I mean, can you imagine a guy who's trying to look manly 6 days a month and the other 24 trying to look like a baby face? Poor guy. So you can't really win there. Mother Nature has had a strange and meandering path, but still predictable, at least in hindsight, when you look at how positive population growth happened. And we're still on that ladder, regardless of the fact that population is pretty high right now and could get to dangerous levels in the next 50 years. That doesn't change. Evolution doesn't change quickly just because of some social pressures or warnings. If that was the case, then as soon as AIDS came out, everybody would have stopped having sex. Didn't happen, did it? Yeah. So ihollaback.org. If you disagree with me and you think that it should be illegal to give women compliment on the streets, well, ihollaback.org is your place to go. Go give them money to throw at a problem that will never be fixed, ever be fixed. I'm pasting the link for that as well on the announcement for this show. That's facebook.com/truthontapshow. Like the page, and you'll see all of the shows advertised. And I'm looking at some other articles here now that we're going to talk a little bit about. Somebody here says that it's advertising. What are women advertising when they dress quite skimpily and scantily? What are they advertising? They're advertising that they have a biological ability and attractiveness to produce what? To produce offspring that are also attractive. There's something going on in the core of your mind when you seek someone out because of looks. And that is, whether you realize it or not, that you know that someone who looks good is going to be more likely to find a mate. Later on down the line, generations go on. Men want their genes to go on. Women do too, but men especially. And this is why you look at the relationship between a father and a son a little bit different than you do with a mother and a daughter. Fathers and sons, there's always this handoff of the baton, whereas with mother and daughter, there's this maternal connection, but it's not, she's not a prodigy or a protege. She is just a loved daughter. With the son, it's, this is me. I'm living vicariously through this man, this boy who's going to be a man. Very different attitudes there in general. So this lady, Doree Lewack, did write, "Hey ladies, catcalls are flattering, deal with it." I'm sharing both that and its counterpoint on the announcement for this show so you can read both. Because we need to get to the bottom of this, and frankly, I've already taken you to the bottom, and that is that human nature is not going to change. It doesn't matter what continent you're on. It doesn't matter what country you're in. I'm telling you right now that men, for the next foreseeable 1 or 2 million years, will be pursuing women, and the primary way to do that is through dialogue. Don't make any mistake about it. That's what's going to happen. If you don't want to be approached by men, your best bet is to find out what's unattractive to most men, or unattractive, and do that. Chop all your hair off, I don't know. Wear shoes with holes in them. Gain an extra 30 or 40 pounds. Get some scars on your body or draw some on there. Just fake it. And you'll do fine. You'll have very few men hitting on you. But you'll leave the house looking lovely, and then you bitch that you're getting hit on. That's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Don't do it. I don't care what your reason is. The guys are coming. They're coming. That's never going to change. I don't care how many foundations you build. I don't care how many donations go to it. That is nature. That is at the core of nature. Without that, we wouldn't have been here. One of the two sexes had to be the aggressive one. It turned out to be the males. I'm looking at another article here called Male versus Female, the Brain Differences. This talks a little bit about the differences in both the guys tend to be better at spatial relations. Women tend to be better with name and face recognition. These are physical differences in the brain of typical men and women, and I'm going to share that link as well. And all of this leads to understanding, and the understanding that you should come to if you're going to trust me to be telling the truth here on Truth on Tap is that this very huge, powerful tidal wave of nature that pushes men toward women seeking them out, is not going anywhere. It's not something you can turn off any more than you can turn off a sneeze. It's going to happen.